Hello everyone, today another crazy day. BGL goes from $50 all the way to $188. That's a $138 plus move. So 1K shares is $138,000 potential profit. The reason this stock was such a nice play is because first of all it's just consolidating all day. And what you have to understand is that the longer stock consolidates, usually the bigger the breakout. It's always been like this based on my experience. So it was just consolidating all day. Imagine it's like getting really tight and then it just explodes after hours. And in extended hours, there's no halts, which is another really big factor for a lot of big moves you see in pre-market or after hours. Because when a stock halts and during the market open, it loses a lot of momentum. And the thing with day traders is that a lot of times they end up going from one stock to another. It's like a herd, right? They move from one to another play. So if a stock you can't really trade it, then it loses momentum, and oftentimes it also halts to the other side as well, right? So BGL, this stock ripped face. This was the very nice play. So the next one, PWM. This one I mentioned, it was a technical dead cat bounce setup, and that's an actual term where if a stock makes a big drop, for example, at least I think it requires at least an 85% drop, you almost always see a bounce to the upside, which is what happened with PWM. It made a really big drop and then a really nice pop. So you want to keep an eye out for these type of setups every day, because I see every day where a stock drops a lot, there's potential for you to capitalize and profit off of that volatility, right? Because when you capture a dead cat bounce, the risk is very low compared to the reward most of the time. Unless it's one of those, Chinese liquidation type of plays, but that's a different story where the stock could go to like zero. So this was PWM. But the next one that I mentioned, HUSA, this was a swing idea. Many times I mentioned in the past, but I mentioned it again because it was reaching a very nice level, psychological level, $10 level. And the hourly chart, you saw that it was just consolidating, not just for one day, but an extended period of time. And again, I mentioned earlier in the video that the longer the consolidation, the better, because buyers are present. And this stock ended up popping to 12.18. That's a $2 share gain in just a couple hours. So if you caught that trade idea, you're up really nicely. And the thing with Oilers is that you still want to keep an eye on the other ones as well. Indo, USEC, BRN, MXC, TPET, 9. There's a lot of them. As I don't think that the Oilers are permanently done. They always pop in, occasionally here and there, right? And once it pops, it really pops. So keep an eye on the Oilers as well. The next one that I'm mentioning, SYTA, this one I mentioned as a swing idea as well. It was around $2.97, I believe. Like $3, it ends up ripping to $3.74, 25% gain. And this stock could keep going over 3. Same multi-day setup. Now, you want to watch the hourly time frame, and as long as it's over 3, I do think that this could keep going. And this is a former supernova. So if you watch my previous videos, you know how I talk about every stock has a personality, and this stock loves to make big runs. That's just the personality of the stock. So it's finally starting to break out of that downtrend, and you're seeing volume increasing on a bigger time frame, which is key. And look at the daily chart. It's very beautiful. SYTA is also a short squeeze type of name, so that also drives my interest. So definitely keep a watch on SYTA. Next one, CTOR. This is a multi-day continuation setup that I mentioned many times in the past as well. And I mentioned the $5 level today. It ends up popping to 540, I believe 547 or something like that, which is a pretty solid pop. But the same situation as SYTA, even if it was a pretty nice pop, I still think that both of them have potential for more. Because SYTA as well as CTOR, they're both micro float, which means they have under 10 million float. So I said in the previous videos that anything under 30 million is low float, but anything under 10 million is like micro float. Like it's like 6 million, 7 million, and then anything under 5 million or 1 million float. Like you see those sometimes their stocks that's like 600k float. That's like a very small float, and most of the time the lower the float is good, right? So CTOR, keep at this tutor, watch this, guys. Next one is shot. This one I saw early today around near the market open. I mentioned it to you guys. Shot was a really interesting setup because the risk reward is really nice. So this is a penny, and you guys already know I like my pennies. And the range on this, look at this. Zoom out on the daily chart compared to the risk you're risking. It's very beautiful risk reward. And on top of that, what really caught my interest is that the volume is out of the ordinary. When you're trading pennies, especially, and small caps, out of the ordinary volume is something that you have to pay attention on and you have to monitor, because what ends up happening is that either institutions or people, that they start to accumulate these type of stocks right before a big move up, and if you're sleeping, if you're not paying attention to the volume, then you're gonna miss these type of setups, right? So shot, keep an eye on this one. This is a penny and it looks really nice right now. So the next stock, alt. This one I mentioned yesterday around 350, that it was making a really strong bounce from the dead cat bounce, and it ended up making another bounce today all the way to 424. So I'm really impressed with this name, how it's moving, the price action compared to the previous drop, and it's really piquing my interest. This stock is higher float though, but the thing is that if you zoom out left on the chart, I think once that 5 cracks, you will see probably a squeeze type of thing, because I think shorts were also anticipating a drop today after that cap bounce. But as you already know, if it refuses to go down, then they get squeezed. ALT, I'm adding this to my watch list. I mean, it's already been on my watch list, but next one, DAIC. This one I mentioned after hours at 8 and ends up ripping face to 1350, which is a really big gain in a short period of time. It was like on like 20 minutes. And the reason I like this stock was because of the level 2, the tape. And if you watch my videos, you know how I really trade off of the level 2 as well, not just the candlesticks and technicals. Where the stock I saw 804 on the bid, I mentioned it right there when the hold out level holds psychological. And I see buyers really, rush and really like pushing, like accelerating, right? And ends up ripping all the way to 840, 850. And as soon as I saw those psychological 25-cent level holds, I know it was game over. It's also a lower float stock, right? DAIC. Yeah, it's like 11 million, 10 million float, which is a small float. So that's one thing you really want to pay attention on, guys, the level 2. If it's low float and you see volume starting to skip the tape, right, once the bids start increasing a lot and the candlesticks follow as well. So DAIC, really nice gain. The next stock that I want to mention, guys, you already know, you love this stock, GNS. I got so many people that really seem to, have a really big interest in this stock, because I really get a lot of messages from people, liking my analysis. So GNS, this is what is most likely going to happen based on my opinion, is that I said in the previous video, you guys already know that it has to hold over 150, but that's old news, right? So the new thesis, in a way, is that I think what ends up have to happen is that there has to be some type of also trap for the bulls as well. But I know this might sound kind of crazy, but imagine if a lot of people got shaken out of the stock. For example, let's say it has a red day, and then ends up ripping face all the way over 175 to 2 plus, because it's going to be less crowded. And when a stock starts to stop people out, the market makers and the liquidity, what is it called, the liquidity grab, it makes making really crazy moves. But again, that doesn't have to happen, but I think that is a possibility that we have to think about, right? Because this stock has been on really nice uptrend, but if people stop out as well, that would also create a lot of fuel for a move upside. But that's just one point. The shorts are already getting trapped really hard on this name, and you're seeing a very clear uptrend that is natural because ever since 50 cent, it hasn't been just straight up. You see the pullbacks after every rip up, and at this rate it could go to 2 plus, like I said. And these are just some factors that really drive the stock higher, because this is the first time I've seen genuine daily strength in this stock, and I think honestly like a year or two. If you could check yourself and verify, then let me know in the comments. But I think that's true. Where in a year, at least a year or two, this has been the strongest type of continuation I've seen. Because this is the thing with GNS, is that in the past, what ended up happening is that it made like a nice pop, right, and then it just drops the next day. But combined with the fact that the stock is having really nice volume every day, I'm seeing the stock have double, triple, quadruple volume. Is always above that volume, the average volume. And I mentioned earlier in the video that that's one of the biggest factors in day trading, small cap, which is the volume when it's unordinary. It's a big indicator of a big move as well, right? And on top of that, I mentioned in the past videos, so I don't want to say it again, but the CEO is like really driving the fact that he's constantly putting out news and being active on social media. If you guys aren't following the CEO and you own GNS, then I recommend you do that, because he's on top of everything. And just yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, right, he got someone that was in charge of the short squeeze in the past, QNTM, Kevin Malone. You could do some research on him, but in QNTM, the stock goes from 289 all the way up to 38 plus. And that's like 1,000%, right? In a few months, guys. And this is the person that was just in charge just yesterday. So GNS, Roger Hamilton, and this company is starting to really kick the engines, right, for a big move up. And I think a lot of shorts got too overconfident on this stock, because I said in the past that this stock allows to gap down after a pop-up, but that's what they expected. I said many times that psychology is a big factor in trading. If people expect something like large majority, like the bears, right, and it doesn't happen, what do you see? What do you think is gonna happen? You see a massive squeeze up, which is what I've been constantly posting on Stock Tours. I said I'll keep talking about the bears, and I'm hearing that there's not even shares available left to short. So man, like this could be a really bad situation, right? As long as the stock keeps uptrending, and on top of the fact with Roger Hamilton and Kevin Malone and all these people releasing the fundamental side as well, with the psychological aspect, with a lot of volume. What's your price target, guys? I'm genuinely curious. What's the area you want the stock to sell? Just for fun, guys. Yesterday I asked what your average is on GNS. And I got a lot of people that messaged the average is literally like 80 cents. Some people said 50 cents. Some people messaged me on Twitter. It's like really nice averages, guys. Like, the stock is almost $2. It was like 160 today. What was it? What was the high? It hit in pre-market 161 or 162. And if your average, you said it was like, people were saying it was like 70 cents, 60 cents. That's really nice. I mentioned around 50 cents as well. So what's your target, guys? I'm curious. Some people I saw in stock are saying like $10. So some people are saying this is like a GameStop type of play where they're not gonna, sell. It's very interesting to see everybody's price targets on the stock. I'm looking at it live right now. Daily chart is zooming out. Range is crazy, guys. Look at this daily chart. The bottom where I mentioned was like 50 cents. And this is a long way to go if we're going to talk about max potential range, right? We're talking like double digit. GNS, guys, really good play. I'm happy that you guys also are banking on GNS. And if you guys have any questions, leave in the comments below. Before I get to the ending, I want to say another two stocks that you got to keep an eye out for a swing type of play, where these stocks made two big moves in the past, just like I think like a month ago. FAS and SST. I actually mentioned these stocks right at the beginning of these moves. These were Bitcoin type of sector news plays, right? So these stocks are entering a really tight hourly chart range right now, just like Indo after that big move up. And you want to keep an eye on both of them because I've been noticing these Bitcoin type of news going crazy these past 2 days. Remember the stock yesterday or the day before? So at these two stocks to watch list, guys, FAS and SST. They both, I believe, have low float, right? Let me just double check. FAS, yeah, say 25 million float. ST, 15 million float. And keep this to your watch list. And if you guys have any questions, leave in a comment. I appreciate everybody. And I think I will still be making content on GNS because every day, I'm telling you guys, the CEO, he keeps releasing new news or he keeps making updates online, and it's really interesting to see how it's going to play out over the next couple months because, again, the weekend's coming up, actually, the holiday weekend. And if you guys know anything about small caps and extended weekends, is that the shorts end up getting really, really trapped because they have to pay fees. They gotta, a lot of them get kind of scared, honestly, when they're holding something for a several period of time and the stock doesn't go down. So tomorrow will be very, very interesting to see what happens with GNS as well as these other stocks, guys. So appreciate you. And let's have a good July, guys. It just started. And I'm feeling really optimistic about this month. I have a feeling. All right, peace, everyone, and good night.